Hi everyone, I'm Julie. Come join me and the creative design team. Today we are sharing creative ways to use alphabets. For this project, I decided to use the classic alphabet thin cuts from Close to My Heart. These thin cuts are nice and big, perfect for both scrapbooking and card making. They measure about 1.5 inch tall, and they are all stored on these really useful carrying sheets. I've gone ahead here and I've traced each and every one of my alphabets with this chalk marker. You can use any marker that you have on hand, but I just find by tracing them out when I use them and then when I need to put away my crafty mess, it just makes everything so much easier. Here you see me using my Versamat. I do line up all of my alphabet using the grid line and my T-ruler. And I've gone ahead here and I've used some washi tape. I know that my friend Erin here on the group uses Post-it-note tape. I just haven't been able to find it lately. So this washi tape works really well. You just have to make sure that whatever you are using, you are not going to peel off the front of your card. So this is a standard A2 card. So it's a little bit small for these larger alphabets. I found that using words with 3 letters worked best, and when you squish them together, they fit perfectly on the card front. So the card front is 4 by 5.25, and I'm going to go ahead here and I'm just going to add a little something to it. Now here I'll be using the Stroke of an Artist. I love this stamp set because it is so easy to transform a plain background with something that is absolutely beautiful, and it doesn't take any time at all. It is very, very effective, don't you think? So I'm just going to add that same little image down here at the bottom. I'm going to clean it off. And then I'm going to add one more little image from this set, which is this tiny little one. I think that it's really cute. It just adds a few little dots here and there, and it's perfect. So the next thing I'm doing here is I'm just going to add a little bit of ink all around the edges of this cardstock, and I'm also going to rub it inwards on the card front. Now it may look like I'm applying a lot of pressure, but I'm actually going very gently. The only reason why it looks like I'm applying a lot of pressure is because I've sped up the video just to make it go a little bit faster. But isn't that effective and really easy? So the next step here, I'm going to pull out my intense black ink, and this is the stamp set that inspired this whole card. It's the stamp of the month for the month of May, and it's got a ton of beautiful sentiments for all occasions. So I was reading off the sentiments and I was trying to find 3 little words that I could marry up and make these beautiful cards. So I always test on the side to make sure that my stamp is seasoned perfectly and it works out. So here you see that it's a beautiful wedding card, and the black background, you can really see the negative part of the card with those thin cuts. Now, I'm fortunate enough to have access, or early exclusive access, to product. Because I'm a consultant, so I've pulled out both stamp of the month, the May one and the June one. Now what I wanted to do with the June one is that I just wanted to stamp those beautiful flowers. I love sunflowers. If you know me, you'll know that that is my favorite flower. So I've gone ahead here and I'm really careful not to stamp the outer part of the tag because I just want to see the flowers themselves. And I've gone ahead here and I've ran through the letters, each of the letters, about 4 times. And the reason for that is because I wasn't getting that image that I wanted every single time on the first try, because I was trying to really maximize as many flowers as I could on top of each of those letters. So this kind of led to the whole design of the card, because I had so many of those little alphabets cut out, and I didn't stress out. I just kind of stamped, and if I didn't like what I saw, I just went again and I stamped again. So I didn't want to waste any of those things, and you'll see what I do with them just in a little bit. And of course, I wanted to add color. So if you've seen our new Tri-Blend markers, they are absolutely a joy to work with. Now, I don't color really per se, but these markers here are perfect because you've got 3 in a series. You've got the light, the medium, and the dark. I always start with the light because I'm always afraid to commit with a dark color, and then I just gradually add each of the colors. I usually work from light all the way to dark, and that way it builds my confidence to start coloring more. So I really like these markers, and I've pulled them out so many times I can't even tell you. So here you see me coloring, of course, the sunflower, and I will list below all of the colors that I'm using here, and I've gone ahead here and I've used the green, and I'm just kind of hitting all of those little leaves with green, and of course I'm starting with the lightest shade, and I follow through with the medium, and then lastly I will add the darkest shade of green to add a little bit of contrast. So again, I can't stress how much I love these markers. I'm sure that colorists are going to say I'm probably not doing this right, but I like the freedom of having all 3 colors combined in one single marker. I don't have to guess about if it matches, they all match together. So I really enjoy working with these little markers. So the next color here, again, was part of the whole design. It matches perfectly our mint ink color, and I wanted to kind of fill in that background, and it just makes that little sunflower pop even more. And I've gone ahead here and I've used the darkest shade of yellow just to make it pop a tiny bit more. Now here I'm showing you that I'm using the coral blend for this little flower that's hanging off at the top. I start with the light and I go to medium and then the dark right into the center. So now you'll see that off screen I've gone ahead and I've colored all of them, and now I'm going to go ahead and use up all of those alphabets. So what I'm doing here is that I'm actually layering them all, and I'm going to make them pop off of this card. Now here are 3 different ways you can use these alphabet. You can use the negative space, which is the black, or you can layer one single die cut alphabet to make it even, but you see this black and white look, kind of like that. Or what I've decided to do here is I've decided to layer them all together to give more dimension. And again, the reason why I started to layer them all together was because I wanted to have the opportunity to position all of those beautiful little flowers on my alphabet, and if I didn't get it right the first time, I had a few extras. So extras are good sometimes. So the last thing I want to do here, and that's just an extra step again, is I want to color the edges of the alphabet because I want to kind of tie in all of that black. So it's stamped in black, I've got the black background, and then I'm just going to add black to the edges of each of those letters, and I really like the look. It really completes the look for me, and it's super easy again with these Tri-Blend markers. So the black one, of course, is the one color, but you've got the nice thin point and the regular point, and it's just easy. You can just run it around, and you see that it gives dimension, and it just adds that nice finish look. So here you can see the difference, like the U is white and the L has been all traced in black. So it's just a little bit of a nuance, but I think it's worth it and I really like doing that. So we're going to go ahead here and we're going to add this card and complete it, just put it all together. The black base here is 1/8 of an inch, a little bit bigger than the front, and then it just sits on top of a regular A2 card base. So we're just going to layer those up on the front, and I like using this Tombow glue because I can just kind of push around all of my pieces to make sure that it's exactly where I want it. So I'm going to add all of my little alphabets all inside, and they fit perfectly in that little pre-cut hole if you want, and I'm just going to layer them all on the card front. And I really like the color, but I was kind of toying with the black and white and mint, but the colors won me over. So I'd like to know what you guys think. I like the way it's nice, it's crisp, and it's fresh, and it's got all this dimension. So you can use definitely 3 letters or 6. So I've gone ahead and I kind of went a little crazy with a few other options because I didn't want to stop at one, and I needed a few thank you cards. So this one here is got the 3 letters, which is thanks, and it's married up with the beautiful May stamp of the month, which has all of those great sentiments. And here I'm just showing you that if you don't color them in, it still looks really, really pretty. So you've got the black and white, and then you've got the colored in option. So I was kind of playing with all of the words, and there were so many options. It was actually kind of fun just to go through this process. So I did the XOXO, and I thought, okay, how about we show more of the flowers, because that's what I wanted to do in the first place. So I cut this little piece here, and I'm going to sneak it at the back, and I'll be able to see more of the flowers because that was the intent. I've gone ahead off camera, of course, and I've colored them all in. So I'm going to start with the center, and I'm going to add that back piece to the O. You just have to make sure that everything is nice and tacked down. So we're going to flip that over, and we are going to add that little piece, and I'm just going to make sure that I see as much of the sunflowers as I can, and I'm just going to press that in there. And even if it hangs off that little square where the X's are, it doesn't matter, because when you put your 2 X's, it covers everything up. So we're going to finish by putting this card together, and they're all pretty much the same, but it's just a variation on a 3-letter word and all of those beautiful sentiments that you have in the May stamp of the month. So here you can see that that little square is kind of sneaking onto or underneath where the X is going to be, and it doesn't matter. I'm just going to put that little stack on top, the one that I've layered, and it's going to hide that. So you don't even need to cut the extra off from the center. And I also found by trial and error that actually putting the glue down on the black part of the card, it's just easier and it's not as messy. So this one here is thanks, and I think a lot of us are going to need a few thank you cards coming up or in this time, so I thought I would go ahead and use this other 3-letter word. So you can also use 6. Now it's a little bit more squishy, but it does fit. So here I've put thanks, but in its long format, if you wish. I could see the word sister, or I could see a few other words that are 6 letters. So you just have to kind of play with it. I wanted to play with the sentiment as well, so I decided to cut it out in a little pennant, and it was just a little bit too long, and it was hiding my word thanks and all of the pretty coloring that I've done. So I'm just going to trim it off here, and I'm going to hang it to the side of the card, and I'm just going to put that in there. I'm just going to trim that off because sometimes I like pennants and sometimes I don't. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue here, and I'm just going to put that right on top of those letters. And I wanted to be mindful not to hide all the pretty coloring that I had just done. So there's no completed card without a little bit of bling. So here I'm using just some silver gems, and I'm adding it on all of the cards, just randomly here and there, just to make them all pop. I really like playing with these alphabets, and I wasn't thinking that they were good for cards, but they are actually really, really great for cards. I really hope that you take out your set, because they're a lot of fun and very addictive. You're going to try and look for 3-letter words and 4-letter words and match them up with the stamp of the month or any sentiment stamp that you might have in your stash. So this is the completed project. I hope that you like it, and I hope that I've inspired you to try something with your thin cuts. I went ahead here and I found that centerpiece for my A, and I actually like it much better. Next up is JAYMA MALMEE. Be sure to watch all of the videos from the creative design team members. All of their links are posted below. We hope that you've picked up a few helpful tips from these creative projects. Please subscribe and click the notification bell to see more of my crafty projects. If you'd like to see more projects from the team, click this link right here. Thank you so much.